Hello and welcome back to another YouTube video. I am so excited to be taking you through a subject that is really not spoken about enough in the health and fitness world, especially with the type of women that I work with who are high performing, high achieving women. They have very, very busy lifestyles. Your sleep schedule is so integral to that. How many times have you woken up and thought, oh my gosh, another day, I'm exhausted, I'm running to the ground? These are going to be my top 3 sleep tricks that are going to help you set your sleep up for success, so that not only can you actually get a decent night's sleep, but you can wake up feeling refreshed, feeling energized and ready to perform at 110%. These are all tips and tricks that I share with my clients, and they're things that you are literally going to be able to go and implement straight away today off the back of this video. So grab yourself a notepad and paper and let's get into the video. So first of all, a little bit about me and who I am as a coach. So I have been coaching now for 5 years. I've worked with hundreds of high performing women to help them drop 10 kilos, build a toned athletic physique, and ultimately build a program that actually works for them. The women in my world have really tried it all when it comes to their health and fitness. They've done the fad diets, they've done the extreme methods, and ultimately it never sticks for them long term. So my fitness program is built around you, your lifestyle, and making sure that we flex around that, which is super, super important for me as a coach. So in this video, we are going to be covering my 3 top sleep tricks. These are super simple, yet super effective. You know, you're not going to be having to turn your entire lifestyle upside down in order to implement these. I want to make sure that what you watch on this video is actionable and you can literally go away and implement today. We're also going to be making sure that we cover how to wind down and switch off for work, which is in turn going to help to reduce your stress, which I know for a lot of you is super, super important. This is also going to act to improve sleep quality, which is going to skyrocket your energy. It's going to improve your performance within your career and also the rest of your life and how you show up for the people that you have in your life, the events that you go to. It's going to positively impact all of these things, as well as improving your recovery, which is so important for seeing standout results when it comes to your health and fitness. So already you can see how important sleep is when it comes to your goals, when it comes to your health and fitness. It's very much not a one-sided thing, and everything very much feeds into each other. So taking it into these tricks now, we're going straight in with trick number 1, which is setting a consistent sleep and wake time. So as you can see here, your body thrives off of routine, okay? It has a natural internal rhythm where it thrives off that similarity, okay? So if you are having some evenings where you're going to bed at 1 o'clock in the morning and getting yourself up at 8 o'clock in the morning to compensate, and then other days you're in bed at 9, you're up at 5, whatever it is, that erratic pattern with your sleeping, it really, really has an impact with the quality of sleep that you have, because your body does not know whether it is coming or going. So we want to start first of all, because a lot of people actually go, okay, what time do I need to go up? But actually we want to make sure that we are starting with that time. We're starting with when we need to wake up in the morning, and then we're going to work backwards from there rather than looking at your bedtime first of all, which is what would make most sense on the surface. But by working backwards, we can make sure that you're getting a minimum. Especially as women, we do need more sleep. That is scientifically proven now. We want to aim from a minimum of around 7 to 8 hours sleep. Now, being completely realistic, I know that this is not always possible, okay? And very much with this, we are talking about an ideal scenario, and sometimes we are going to have to adapt with that, and that is totally okay. But if we can strive to be consistent, or as consistent as possible with our sleep and wake times as possible throughout the week, that is going to very much set us up for success. So what does that actually look like? Say, for example, you need to be up at 5 a.m. for your morning commute to be in the city for when you need to start work and you want to beat the rush hour on the train, okay? That means that 7 to 8 hours prior to that is going to be around 9 to 10 p.m., okay? So that means if we're getting up at 5 a.m., we want to try and be getting to sleep by 10 p.m., for example. Now, I know obviously we want to keep that consistent throughout the week, and I know that you're not going to want to be getting up at 5 a.m. on the weekends. That's completely understandable unless you need to, or unless you have kids that wake you up at that time. So you can have an hour or 2 leeway with this. Ideally, an hour leeway either side, so an hour later or an hour earlier, is still going to help keep that consistency for your body. So still striving to get up at a decent time on the weekends is actually going to do you way more good, because actually quite often what happens is, especially if we are up early during the week, on the weekends we're like, oh, I need to have a line, and you actually wake up feeling worse for it and almost quite groggy. That's because your body is out of sync and out of rhythm. And even one day out of rhythm can take a few days to get back. And that's why you can find you're almost chasing your tail when you go back into that working week, because Monday you're exhausted, you're trying to get back to routine after a weekend of laying in. So you can kind of see, as we zoom out and look at the bigger picture here, how important those consistent sleep and wake times really, really are. Obviously, if you work from home, you might have a little bit more flexibility with regards to these times, and I know sometimes work events and work deadlines will also affect this, but as much as possible, start with when you need to be up and when you need to be starting your day, work backwards from there, aim for that 7 to 8 hours minimum, and try to keep this as consistent as possible throughout your working week. Now, we're going to talk about what we're doing before bed, because this is something that a lot of people, once again, do not take into account. They think, okay, it's 9 o'clock, I need to be asleep. They put their head on the pillow and they wonder why they can't fall asleep. Now, I put here, your kids have a bedtime routine, so why don't you? Okay, when we were all younger, it would have been a case of bath, bed, story, whatever, and you probably do the same for your kids right now. They have a bedtime routine that helps to get them off to sleep, because it benefits you when they get off to sleep well and at the right time. So why aren't you doing the same for yourself? Yet you're expecting to be able to get off to sleep at a good time without putting in that groundwork and that foundation. So once again, we're continuing with that theme of working backwards. So say, for example, we've worked out that we need to be asleep by 10 p.m. Working backwards from that, let's look at when we need to start your wind down routine. I would say ideally you want to allow 30 to 60 minutes, okay? You can't imagine clicking your fingers and literally being ready to put your head on the pillow. You need to allow your body to go from a state of active, where your brain's ticking away, it's thinking, you're moving your body, you're engaged in, your day. You can't expect it to go from that state of alertness into a state of sleep instantly. It doesn't happen, because they're two different states within our body and within our brain, okay? You're going to use this 30 to 60 minutes as your downtime. Now, some things that are going to really help with this. The number one thing that I speak to so many people about is limiting your screen time, okay? Whether that's your phone, tablets, your laptop, TV, whatever it is, that blue light from those screens is stimulating your brain, okay? And as much as you'll say, oh yeah, but I can watch TV and then I fall straight asleep. Yes, but falling asleep is one thing and having quality sleep is a completely other matter, okay? And again, we want to be making sure that we're gradually paving the way to change from one state to another. If you think about your gym sessions, when you first start exercising, you wouldn't go straight into a 100-meter sprint as soon as you've walked through that gym door. You would warm up, you would take time to gradually increase your heart rate, you would prepare your body before you then go and do that first set of your sprint. And sleep is exactly the same thing, but we're just working downwards instead of upwards, okay? So some other things that I personally find really, really help with that wind down, we basically want to create that sort of calm atmosphere for ourselves, for our brains, for our bodies. So things like reading, meditation, even something like some gentle stretching or yoga, super calming for the body, for the mind, journaling as well. Especially this is going to help from a stress decompression perspective. If you've got a lot on your mind and you find that you get into bed and your mind is racing, that is because you haven't had a chance to basically expel what is in your brain, okay? Herbal teas can also be fantastic, and typically chamomile tea is very, very good for promoting quality sleep, and equally peppermint tea is also really good for promoting healthy digestion. So after your evening meal, sometimes if we have had a heavier evening meal or we've eaten later, we can find that that disrupts sleep. So having a peppermint tea to help relax that digestive muscle fiber can really, really help with that. So what I would suggest is picking 1, 2, maximum 3 things to do of an evening that you personally feel help to relax you. This could even be something like doing some colouring or doing some crafts. I know a lot of people who are crocheting, knitting, all of those things. Again, just to help your brain switch off and naturally wind down. So to give you an example with me, I will always journal, then I will read, and I will have my tea at the same time as doing those 2 things. And over time, you will find as soon as you start that wind down routine, your body goes, okay, it knows what's coming. Again, think about what I just talked about with the first point. Your body thrives off of routine. It's the same as if you have pets at home. I don't know what it is. My cats, I swear they can tell the time. They know exactly when it is dinner time. They have that routine down to a T. They know exactly when their food is coming. They know exactly when it's time to get up in the morning, when it's time to wind down in the evening. They know, and our bodies are exactly the same. And quite often when we are so busy and so consumed by our lives, we almost separate ourselves from that natural instinct to really lean into routine. So it's super, super important. So this wind down routine, like I say, it's all about continuing to work backwards, allow yourself that 30 to 60 minutes, use that as your downtime, get away from screens as much as possible, and implement 1 to 2, maybe 3 things maximum. Keep it nice and simple that are going to help you wind down and get ready for bed. Now, trick number 3 is your environment. Your environment really does affect things like your mood, and again, how your body and your brain are going to respond. So, like with your downtime routine, you want your environment to also promote that feeling of peace, that feeling of calm. Now, I know that there are going to be other factors at home, and obviously all these tricks are giving you the optimum scenario. So this may have to be adjusted. This may not be as easy to achieve from day to day. So a really good one to start off with that a lot of people don't realize is your lighting. Again, our bodies are naturally trained to respond to natural light. If we think back hundreds of thousands of millions of years when we didn't have things like clocks, electricity, all those things, the only way we would know whether it was time to go to sleep is because the sun went down. Yeah, that is why we have night and day. Our body is trained to respond to the stimulus of light. So especially, I know it's harder when the lights start to draw out a little bit, but turn the lights down as much as possible. Get away from overhead lighting. Again, there is scientific evidence that having like lower level lighting, so things like lamps, again, are going to help wind down your body for that sleep. Even things like candles as well, so more peaceful, warm, like dim lighting is going to be really beneficial. The second thing is just making sure that your environment is kind of free of distractions and things that, again, going to kind of stimulate your brain, get you thinking about work, stress, all of those things. So put your phone on silent, put your phone on do not disturb, or even put it on airplane mode, turn your phone off. Okay, this is also going to help with that winding down aspect that we spoke about in trick number 2. Also, noise. Again, loud noises, so turn the TV down, okay, turn the music down. Keep things nice and calm, nice and quiet. That is also just going to help optimize your environment and pave that way for winding down towards bed. Again, if you think about it, if you have kids at home, you read them a story, you use a calm, soothing tone of voice. You're not shouting. You want to calm them down, and it's exactly the same thing for ourselves, but quite often we don't take that routine for ourselves. So, in summary, these last 3 points, we want to set a consistent sleep and wake time, making sure that we work backwards from when we are needing to get up in the morning so we can get the ideal amount of sleep. Then once we've got that in place, continuing to work backwards once more, we're going to create a wind down routine to complement what we need. And then to work in hand with that, just making sure that our environment is also optimized to exactly where we need to be so that we can feel calm and we can feel peace and we can ultimately drift off to a really good quality night's sleep so that we can optimize that and feel as good as possible. And if you do want some more guidance and assistance on building your ultimate routine to support your health and your fitness goals so that you can not only drop 10 kilos, build a strong athletic figure, but also do this in a way where you do not have to sacrifice your career in the process, this is exactly what I build for my clients in my one-to-one program. So just comment the word coach below and I'll send you the details. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.